a record of this. All right, so how's everybody doing tonight? Either give me a verbal okay or put something in the chat box so I know everyone's doing well this evening. Fantastic. All right, well, hopefully, I don't know if you've had an opportunity, it's first day, so it's trying to get back in the swing of things of the fall semester, whether or not you've had a chance to read the welcome announcement or just briefly watch. I posted a few-minute video just welcoming everybody to class. But in case you haven't, it's out there. I just wanted to introduce myself and welcome you to POS 1041, American Government. My name is Michael Sweeney. I go by Mike, and I'm just really happy. This is my first semester teaching at Northwest Florida State, so very excited to be here. A little bit about me. My background is in political science. I got my bachelor's degree in political science about 20 years ago and went back for my master's about 6 years ago. Finished my master's in 2017, and next year shooting for August to finish my PhD in political science and public administration. And so I've taught for the last several years American government courses, primarily in the Chicagoland area at universities there, because that's where I'm from originally. Grew up, born and raised in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Recently moved, my wife and I moved our family to Knoxville, Tennessee. So, and we've been here for about a month. So it's been fantastic, a fun little adventure for us. So a little bit about this course, we're going to dive in, but kind of talk to you about why I love this course, right? I don't know what, and we're going to get to know each other. I don't know what everyone's studying. I don't know if anybody's interested in political science at all. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but this class has something for everybody. No matter what, where you come from, like regionally, culturally, ideologically, we all bring something to the table, right? Whatever our personal, professional background is, we have something to offer this everyone else in this course, because this class talks about how we get involved in our democracy, in our republic, right? We are a system of government that is run by the people, right? It doesn't always feel that way, and we'll talk about some of those topics, but that is how it operates. So we have a very important role to play. And so whatever your personal or professional background is, you have something to offer, because public policy impacts each and every one of us. So with that, just briefly talk about expectations. And we'll cover a lot of this when it comes to the syllabus, but I want to talk about what you can expect from me. Right? My job is to help you succeed in this class. So I'm going to be as responsive to you as possible. If you're engaged in the class, you're reaching out to me, you have questions, I'm going to be responsive to you. I'm going to help you be successful in this course. And ultimately, in your academic career, I want to get you through this course successfully. I want you to take away a lot of good things from this course, but ultimately, I want you to successfully complete this course and move on in your academic and professional career. So I want you to be successful. So let me know how I can help. I know online courses can be a good and bad thing, right? You get to work at your own pace, but at the same time, you might feel distant, right? We're gonna do a variety of things in this class to keep everybody engaged, but you can always reach out to me. I'm gonna be posting videos. You can reach me by email all the time. If there's ever a time you wanted to connect with me by phone as well, we can make that happen. Okay, any questions so far?
No.
Okay, so before we get into like the specifics of the grading policy, because that's really what we're gonna cover tonight, I wanna go over the syllabus, talk to you just about some basics of the course. We're not gonna be on here for 2.5 hours tonight. Throughout the semester, I don't anticipate being on Zoom for 2.5 hours. If we can get through the material in 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes, I don't anticipate a day where you'll be here the whole 2.5 hours. But that's really going to be based on our ability to get through the material and me being able to answer your questions when we get together in a timely fashion. So If you come prepared for the online Zooms and we can get through those in a timely manner, I understand 2.5 hours is a lot of time to be looking at your computer screen during a class, especially at the end of a long day. So we'll make sure that we get through the material, like I said, as efficiently as possible. That being said, I know that everybody either, has family commitments, work commitments. Just stay in communication with me. If you run into any challenges, just let me know. We can work through those challenges. I want you to be successful in this class, but I can't help you unless you communicate with me. I never want you to tell me, well, 5 weeks ago I had an emergency, that's why I didn't complete the assignment. Well, that's not really communicating with me. I understand that emergencies can't come up and you can't tell me about them right away. Just get in touch with me as soon as you can afterward. Explain to me the circumstances. I completely understand, and we can work through them. So, like I said, so that's what you can expect from me. That's generally what I expect from you. Good communication, and for you to be engaged in the material and engaged in the course by attending the live Zooms and participating in the online discussions and completing your quizzes and all those things that we'll talk about. All right, everybody good so far? I appreciate everybody jumping on this evening. I know it was trying to get everything organized right before the semester started today was a little delayed, but I'm glad everyone found the link and was able to get on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you've had an opportunity. If I can find it somewhere, where is it? Hold up, give me 1 second. I don't know if I didn't. Apologize for that. I'm going to try it one more time, pulling up my syllabus here. There it is. All right. Can everybody see my screen, see the syllabus? All right, awesome, thank you. Okay, so I'm sure everyone has seen the syllabus before. If you haven't, it's pretty routine, right? We're going to talk about some of the basics of the course, the resources that the college offers. We're not going to go into every detail on the syllabus, right? It's 16 pages. That's not necessary. You all can read. It's an online course. That's the expectation. You can read on your own. I'm going to hit the highlights again, kind of going into expectations for the course when it comes to assignments. I won't go into a lot of detail on every assignment because I'll post other videos and messages and announcements about those, but we'll hit the highlights and give you an opportunity to ask any questions. All right, so POS 1041, this is American Government online Zoom, and we'll meet from 6 to 8:30. Like I said, that's the scheduled class time. Typically, we'll meet for about 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer every week. There's my name. Keep my email handy, right? That's your lifeline to me. I'll be as responsive as possible, but right, I can only do that if you know how to get in touch with me. Office hours are by appointment. Depending on your schedule, we'll make it work. Whether we want to have a private Zoom, we need to set up a phone call, some kind of live chat situation, whatever the case might be, we'll find a way to communicate at a time that works for both of us. All the information you've already been accessing it, which is great, is on Blackboard. If you ever have any problems accessing any of the videos, any of the assignments, any other materials, just please let me know or reach out to IT. We'll get that solved. Make note, December 13th is the final. All your exams will be taken on Blackboard. So you'll have all day to complete that exam from like 7 a.m. to 11:59. You'll have a certain window of time once you begin that exam to complete it. We'll go into more detail as the first exam approaches. All right, so you have the course description. By the name, I'm sure you can guess a lot of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the country's founding, founding documents, institutions, our elected representative, voting, elections, how technology plays a role in politics. That's kind of all these different components, and we're going to talk about how they come together, and not only look at the founding, but we're going to be able to look at what happened at our founding, and we're going to see that issues that have occurred throughout the history of this country, how they impact us today, and the issues that we're talking about today, we can trace back to the founding. So, you know, a lot of folks when they hear, well, the founding, and we've come so far from the founding, right? We're going to talk about how it's still relevant today, and some of the same issues that the founders were talking about, we're talking about today. Maybe in a different environment, maybe as it relates to different issues, but we're talking about a lot of those same issues. All right, so that's kind of the course in a nutshell. What we expect you to take out of this course, you can see in the course level student learning outcomes. So we want you to understand the basic principles of American democracy. We want you to understand how political parties operate, party platforms, and why they're important, right? They're not just words on a page, they matter, right? When it comes to gaining votes and campaigning. What are voting patterns? Who votes? Why they vote? You might see some parallels in the people you know, or how you vote, or how you engage with the system. We're going to talk about the branches of government, the separation of powers, how they balance each other, how they check each other. These are all very important to understand, because we see today, hear a lot of frustration with our representatives, a lot of frustration with how institutions operate. Hopefully this will give you an understanding that the system was meant to be frustrating. And we'll talk a lot about why the system was designed that way, and why it can be very frustrating for us today. There's important components to that we need to understand. Might not frustrate us any less, but we'll understand it, okay? And as you go on, go ahead and read through those. Right, I said, you're perfectly capable of reading those. Take the time to read through the syllabus, but this is what we want you to take away from the course. Course prerequisites. I'm going to go ahead and assume you've all have achieved this prereq. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been enrolled in this course, so we're good there. If there's any question that you haven't met this prereq, let me know, and we can find out what to do from there. All right, course materials. There will be videos. There'll be other things that I post from time to time online. The videos will come every week, sometimes multiple short videos a week. The other materials will come from time to time. The textbook is available online. Here's the link right in your syllabus. OpenStax textbook titled American Government. It is free. It is open source, no cost as far as that goes. So go ahead and access the book online at any time. I would encourage you to download the PDF. Technology can get wonky sometimes, and it's good for you to have the downloaded PDF, so you don't get sidetracked on any assignments, or if you have a quiz coming up, we don't want you to be delayed because something you didn't have, you know, you lost internet for a couple days or whatever the case might be. All right. You can read through the student success statement, the diversity inclusion statement, right? It's about valuing you as the students, as the learners, whatever your background, however you're coming to Northwest Florida State, we want you to be successful. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you're successful. So there's a lot of resources that are listed in the syllabus you can avail yourself to. Me being, you know, #1 in this course, the #1 resource for you to address any concerns or questions that you have. But our goal is to help you be successful, as I said before. If you need any accommodations, just contact the Academic Accommodations Office. They will help you with whatever you need. Then you can communicate their findings with me. I abide by whatever that office says. I don't ask questions. Whatever accommodations I can help you with, I'm there to help you. There's plain and simple. All right, another resource, the Bay Care Confidential Helpline, to help with any counseling, provide any mental health resources. It's always a good resource to have, okay? All right, COVID-19 precautions, right? That doesn't really apply to this course, but it's there. You know, you might have some in-person courses that you're taking. It's good to keep that in mind, and just keep an eye on the situation from the college's perspective. All right. So now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of what's expected from you from a grading perspective and how you can expect to be evaluated in this course. So first off, class attendance. Please pay special care to follow this, make note of this. Attendance for this course is required to remain in this course. All right, so I'm going to check attendance in two ways: by the completion of the course introductory activity and the completion of the chapter 1 quiz. And we'll talk more about that. Your chapter 1 quiz is going to be due on this Tuesday. I believe that's the 24th. And then a week from Saturday, your introductory assignment activity is going to be due. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I'll post some more information about that tomorrow. Don't want you to get stressed out about that. We're talking about pretty simple things, but that's how we're going to make sure that you're engaged in this course. If you don't complete these tasks, I have to de-enroll you from the course. So just make sure you complete those so that you can stay in this course and successfully complete this course. So I talked about that attendance confirmation. If you don't engage and you don't complete those two activities, I have to remove you, I have to withdraw you from the course. So let's not do that. That's not fun for anybody, right? All right, classroom conduct, right? Online Zoom, right? Online courses, some kind, right? We're not in a classroom setting. We talk about classroom conduct. Well, we are. We are in a virtual classroom, whether it's fully online or in an online live Zoom situation like this, right? There is an expectation for class conduct, right? In this situation, right? When you're answering a question or you're providing some information that's going to add to our live discussions, right? Do so respectfully, right? There's going to be people that disagree with you. Disagreement is a good thing if we do it respectfully and thoughtfully. So we want to make sure that we're doing that, right? If you have background noise at your house, right? Just make sure you mute in Zoom so that we're not all hearing that. So you're just respectful to your classmates while we're going through the lectures and having our online discussions. When it comes to our online discussions where we're in a discussion board, same rules apply, right? We're going to be respectful. We're going to be thoughtful. That doesn't mean that we're not going to challenge each other. That doesn't mean that we're not going to disagree. I actually encourage you to challenge each other, right? The worst, I tell you, the most boring posts that I get when I have discussion board assignments is someone saying, oh yeah, Mike, agree with you 100%, right? Yeah, good job. Wait, you stated it perfectly, right? Really? That's how we're going to get better. That's how we're going to have important conversations? Never, right? Challenge somebody. Find somebody you disagree with. Challenge them. Ask them how they arrived at that particular conclusion. Share with them your conclusion and how you arrived at, how you come to understand a particular issue. It's okay if we disagree and we engage, we challenge each other respectfully. We're going to make each other better. Right? So just keep those in mind, right? Virtual classroom conduct, right? Respect and thoughtful discussions always are key. All right. So here's what you're going to get graded on, right? So the attendance plays a part here. I talked about the course introduction assignment. That's going to be due a week from Saturday. The purpose is to introduce yourself to your classmates and to critically analyze how public policy impacts you personally and professionally. Okay, so the introduction part, right? We want to get to know you, right? If we're going to have discussions in class, we want to know who we're talking to, right? We want to know what we have in common with each other. We want to know, hey, what's this person's background? Or, hey, this person maybe is in the military. This person has kids like me. That kind of familiarity makes us feel comfortable with having discussions, right? And that's very important in an online setting. All right, I talk about analyzing public policy and how it impacts you personally and professionally, right? That's what this course is about. How does government and politics impact you? And so that's very important, right? We want to know, and how are we going to accomplish that? This is how, right? You're going to have 3 parts to this assignment. Number 1, tell us about you, right? Where you're from, what you're studying, where you're at in your academic career, What are your professional goals? What are you doing now? Anything you want to share that helps us get to know you, right? Easy, right? There's not a drain, right? You can write that easy. The next, you're going to identify a federal, state, or local law that impacts you and your family, right? It could be anything. It could be a stop sign on your street or a lack of a stop sign on your street. It could be anything from, let's see, school loan, right? The school loan policy, right? Marijuana policy. It could be, I mean, anything. It could be anything related to law enforcement or the environment. It could be anything, right? I want you to start thinking about how government impacts you, right? At the local, state, or federal level. Just find one. Talk about whether or not you agree with the law, how you would change the law, and how it would improve your life, your family's life, your community, your state, or your country as a whole. Yeah, Benjamin, do you have a question?
What about if it's a law that doesn't exist, but you're fighting for something?
So can you give me an example?
Certain actions in the classroom by in an ESE classroom.
Okay. So but there's no rule yet.
It's like regarding, it's something in another state about having cameras in ESE classrooms.
Okay.
And I'd love for that to get passed in Florida.
Okay. So what you can talk about is, I think that's a great idea, is the fact that, and maybe we'll spell this out. That's a really good question. So maybe take the issue and talk about how there's a gap in the law and how you would change that. I think that's a great way to go about it. So say, okay, here's the issue. There's a gap in the law. The law is not addressing this, right? So a gap in the law could address this as well. So I think that's great. If you want to write about that, talk about the gap in the law on that issue, and then write how you would change that law. And the change you would make is by enacting the law. Does that make sense? Perfect. Great question. All right. So hopefully everyone got that. So I think that's a great way to go about it as well. Say, look, there's not just a law, but here's a gap in the law. So I'll go back to my simple example is there's no stop sign here, right? That's a gap. How do I institute this stop sign, right? Benjamin's talking about a more significant issue, right? From a statewide perspective, but you can see my point, right? If there's a gap somewhere and you need to institute an ordinance or a policy or a law, right? Because there's a gap, that's really important. Great thought, Benjamin. And then that's from a personal perspective, right? Then I want you to look at how a law, or again, a gap in a law, impacts your chosen profession, maybe a profession you're in now, or the profession you want to or you plan to go into, right? Is there a law that is impacting your profession? Can you approve it? Is that a good law that you can improve upon? Is it a bad law that needs to be changed? How? I want you to talk about that, right? So again, what law impacts you personally, right? And then what impacts you professionally? I want you to start thinking about how government and politics impacts you, right? And you see this last point here. This is why I don't want you to get too worried, right? You're not writing a term paper, right? Within the first 10 days, okay? 2 to 3 pages, double spaced, 12-point font. Cite your sources, cite the law, or cite anything that related to the gap in the policy. Go ahead, Benjamin.
12 or 12.5 for the font size.
12, please.
I thought you said 12.5.
Did I mistype something? I might have mistyped something. I'll go back. I can clarify that. I'll see. I'll look down at the writing. If I said, did you read that somewhere? Did I say that, Benjamin?
Now you said 12.5. I said, I saw it was 12.
It is. If I said 12.5, I apologize. It's 12-point Times New Roman font. So glad we clarified that. Okay. So again, 2 to 3 double-spaced pages. You're looking, like I said, 2/3 of a page to a page on each of those particular topics, right? It's just an opportunity for you to start engaging in the course material and also to tell us about yourself. All right, and look for that to be posted, the details on that assignment to be posted tomorrow. All right, so class quizzes. Most weeks we'll have a class quiz, 8 to 10 questions based on the reading. It'll be due the Tuesday before the next week starts. So you'll read chapter 1 and you'll take the chapter 1 quiz by 11:59 on Tuesday. And then we'll cover on Wednesday in the lecture, we'll cover chapter 1 and so on and so on. The quizzes, you'll be able to take as many times as you want. The point of the quizzes is for me to encourage you to prepare for class, for me to encourage you to read the material ahead of time, right? So that's a great way to do it. I call them free points because all you have to do is take the quiz. If you don't get 100%, then you just retake the quiz. Like I said, 8 to 10 questions, very simple. It's an easy way to earn 100 points in the class. So it's 10% of your grade. And I said, there's about, not every week, there will be weeks that we skip based on whether whether you have an exam or other assignments due. But I think I plan to have 11 quizzes throughout the semester. All right, online discussion, posts and responses, 4 times. 4 times throughout the semester, we will have a discussion post online, 20 points per assignment. So that's your 80 points or 8% of your grade. When that happens, I will post a discussion question on a Wednesday. You'll have 72 hours to respond to me. And then after that, you'll have 24 hours to respond to one classmate, right? So you can get 10 points for your initial response, 10 points for your secondary response, and then that adds up to the 20. To get those points, again, on point, thoughtful discussion, 300 words in your initial response, 300 words in your second response to a classmate, 600 words, easy. You don't have to go on and on, right? We want you to be focused, succinct, hover around those 300 words. Doesn't mean you have to get it exactly. We just don't want you at 1,000 or 1,200 words for your responses. Focus your arguments and your responses. All right, I'm just going to tell you now, I just had a message pop up. I don't know why this is like this. This shouldn't be like that, but said that this meeting is going to time out in 10 minutes. It's like 8.5 minutes now. It shouldn't, but if it does, you should be able to log right back in. If it kicks us out, you should be able to log right back in. I'm not sure. I'll fix that so we don't deal with that in the future. Okay. Then we have apply your knowledge assignments. There's 3 of them, 50 points apiece. I will distribute them in weeks 3, 8, and 14. You'll have a week and a half to complete those roughly. Again, short assignments that help you apply what you have learned, what you've read in a meaningful way. 2 to 3 double-spaced pages, again, at 12-point font. And you cite your sources, whether it be from the textbook or another source. Just make sure you're citing properly. We'll talk a little bit about that. And again, as we approach these assignments, I will provide additional detail. Everybody good so far? Any questions? Great. All right. The Civil Liberties Political Cartoon. All right. As we get closer to the civil liberties and civil rights chapters, we'll talk more about this, and I'll probably talk about this more next week in some detail, just to kind of give you the lay the groundwork. But in our society and in our common, just everyday discussions, individuals confuse civil liberties with civil rights all the time. They're interchangeable, at least in common conversation. I want you to understand the difference. And it's really important for you to understand the difference. That's why I assign this particular, I assign this assignment, is because it's important for you to understand the difference. So it's simply, you find a civil liberties political cartoon and you analyze it. And I'll provide some more detail, but Want you to talk about the symbolism in the cartoon, what the author is trying to convey, whether or not you agree with the author, and even talk about the issue. Because a lot of times political cartoons are timely, right? They're trying to address, we've had political cartoons in this country since the beginning. And it's really a way to very succinctly get a point across about a very important issue. And so political cartoons have a lot of meaning, and they're typically very timely because they're pointing to a very significant issue that our society is debating. So we want you to be able to analyze that cartoon, but it has to address civil liberties. And it's going to help you distinguish between civil liberties, civil rights, and just a run-of-the-mill political issue. Okay. All right. All right. And then here we have your exams. Your first exam after Unit 1 is going to be 100 points. Your next 2 exams is going to be 200 points apiece. Your third exam is your final exam. There's not 3 exams plus a final. Your third exam is a final. I just don't want any, sometimes there's confusion about that. Your third exam is your final. And I test you on each unit. Nothing is cumulative. I'd rather, the other assignments are there to kind of round out your knowledge of the different units. So I just focus on each unit. I test you on each unit as we go. All right. And then that was a little bit, this highlights the writing requirements that Benjamin and I were just talking about, right? The fonts, the font size, the margins, and all that. Then the formatting styles, use APA or MLA in this course. Whatever one you choose, just be consistent with it throughout each assignment. Don't go back and forth between different formatting methods, and just focus on the clarity of your writing style. Make sure you review, write drafts, read your drafts out loud. If somebody else can read it for you to help you improve your writing, look for grammatical errors, spelling errors, adhere to the formatting laid out in APA or MLA styles, and then make sure you submit in proper format, Word document or PDF online where necessary. All right, then there's an MLA and APA guide here. There's a link in the syllabus that you can click on if you have any questions, kind of help you through making sure that you're formatting properly. All right, any questions up to this point? We're just cruising right through, so that's great. All right, late assignment policy. Late assignment policy is that I don't accept late assignments unless there is a reasonable excuse, right? Emergencies happen, I get it. We talked about this right at the beginning. Communication is key. Let me know what's going on. Make sure you have the proper documentation. If you can't let me know ahead of time because it's an emergency, let me know as soon as you can afterwards. And if we need to reschedule an exam or give you a little bit of extra time on an assignment, if it's an emergency and it's documented, we'll make it happen, right? That's reasonable, and that would be the expectation that I would have. So, like I said, just don't let me know 5, 6, 7 weeks later that something came up and you couldn't get something done, right? That's not good communication. So communicate with me as soon as possible. All right, extra credit, I don't offer it. I won't say never, but it's very rare. Unless there's something that I see that's really relates to this class that's happening in the political environment that I think we could benefit from a class perspective, I don't offer it. Sometimes I will, and if that's the case, I would encourage you to take advantage of it if you would like. I will offer it to everyone in the class. What I will not do is offer individual credit to somebody to raise your grade in the course, right? I've had that happen. It happens all the time. Students come to me and say, look, I'm a handful of points away from the next letter grade. Can I get some extra credit? No, you cannot, right? Take advantage of the free points, like the quizzes, making sure that's done. Put your best foot forward, communicate with me, get your questions answered, make sure you do the best on all your assignments so you don't have to rely on extra credit. Right? All right, changes to the syllabus. I reserve the right to modify them. It's rare that I do that. Every once in a while, I have to change things based on scheduling, or if I find the class is struggling with an assignment, I might postpone or push off an assignment, but you'll always be notified of changes. And usually they work in your favor. Either I remove an assignment, that's happened before, or I give you additional time to complete an assignment. It works in your favor. I never give you less time or add work to your course load. All right. Plagiarism. Don't do it, right? Plain and simple. If you do it, you get a 0 on the assignment. If you do it more than once, you'll get an F in the class. Nobody wants that, right? We want to get you through this class successfully. We don't want to hurt your academic career and your chances to move on with additional courses. I use Safe Assign in Blackboard. I will check. I run all your assignments through there. Right? If you're going to use somebody else's work and discuss somebody else's ideas, just cite them, right? It's just that simple, right? Cite their work, cite your resource. That way, there's no question, right? You come back and say, nope, I cited that, right? That's perfectly fair, right? Don't get caught